This is a story about trading records through the mail. Oh, I think this is the story that the guy thought I was lying about. Around 2002, it looked like a guy from Oregon was ripping me off for 3 rare records. I had done plenty of business with this guy over the years, and it seemed out of character. We agreed to a trade by phone. The next day, I sent the things he wanted. Weeks passed, and I never got my stuff. I called him and got a promise that he would ship right away. More weeks passed, and still no package. Months passed. Now this guy was dodging my calls and not responding to emails. I was getting frustrated. Of course, I wanted the 3 rare records for my collection, but what really singed me was that this was an older member of the punk rock music community. He knew better. He knew the code. My stomach burned with what I assumed to be an ulcer. I sat awake at night plotting revenge. My wife could tell that something was bothering me. I didn't go into all the details, but I told her that a guy was ripping me off, and I thought I might have to go beat his ass. To my surprise, she told me, "Yeah, you should." My wife is the most gentle, reasonable, diplomatic person you can imagine, and she seemed to be giving me consent for revenge. I knew the guy's home address. Someone was going to let me borrow a Domino's pizza uniform. I got a map of the guy's town from the internet and researched the area. I found what I needed. The plan came together quickly. My idea was to get an early morning flight to Oregon and rent a car. First stop was to be at a gun shop a couple of miles from the guy's house, where I planned to buy pepper spray and a stun gun. Next, I'd go to a Domino's Pizza and buy a pizza. Then I would drive to the guy's house and stake it out, see what the neighbors were like, look at the surrounding streets, and wait until I saw the guy. When I was sure the guy was home alone, I'd slip into the Domino's Pizza uniform, pocket the pepper spray and stun gun, grab the pizza, and head for the door. I was going to knock on the door and say, "Pizza guy." He would be expecting no pizza. I would have the element of surprise. When he opened the door, I was going to slam him in the face with the pizza, pepper spray his eyes, and zap him with the stun gun until he passed out. I planned to bring some duct tape from home to bind and gag him too. After this fucker was bound, gagged, and beaten unconscious, I planned to grab his entire record collection, drive to a UPS place, and ship it back home to me. Then I'd have a couple of hours to kill until my red-eye flight back to Tampa. What could go wrong? It was the perfect plan, right? I thought so. I went over the plan for a few days. There were a few risks, but I was willing to take them, all for 3 records. It seems trivial now, but at the time I was consumed with thoughts of revenge. Keep in mind, these were very rare records. When I was satisfied with my plan, there was one more thing to do. Clear it with the wife. I probably should have done that before I bought the plane tickets, but I didn't. I called my sweet patient wife at home and told her, "Well, I fly to Oregon on Tuesday and I'll be back Tuesday night." She had no idea what I was talking about. I reminded her of the guy in Oregon who was ripping me off and gave her a skeletonized version of my plan, and she became extremely upset. "I didn't think you were serious about that. I have to go now. I think I'm going to be sick." She did get sick. When I got home from the record shop that night, she told me that my plan made her vomit, and that if I ever thought about doing anything like that again, she would have to divorce me. I canceled my plane tickets. I needed a better plan. As much as I hated the idea, it seemed like I would have to involve the authorities to get my 3 records. I called the police in Oregon, assuming they'd just laugh at me, but the officer I got on the line was very concerned. He took some information from me, and after considering it for a while said, "If you're in another state and this involves the mail, it is a federal crime. I'm turning this over to the FBI." I figured that was the last I'd hear of it, but less than an hour later, an FBI agent called me at the record shop and asked me for the full story. He too was very concerned. He asked me to verify the guy's address and asked me about the value of the 3 records, which I overestimated. A little. "Well, no doubt about it. This is a felony on the federal level. I'm going there now to investigate." I couldn't believe the FBI was getting involved in a record trade gone wrong, but this hard ass was on the case. 30 minutes later, he called me from the guy's house with his report. I'm here right now. I have seen the records. Mr. M is packing them up in front of me right now. He promised me he would mail them tomorrow. If you do not have them in 1 week, I want you to call me so I can follow up. Holy shit. The agent gave me his phone number at the FBI and his personal phone number. He wanted me to call him when the records arrived. A few days later, I got the records, called the agent, and thanked him for help.
That's awesome.
True story.